ready to head off the trail? I'm the Cryptid Huntress, Jessica Jones, and I'm ready to take you on a mysterious journey right now. We welcome you to Off the Trails right here on the Spaced Out Radio YouTube channel. If you guys haven't hit subscribe yet, please do. We would love to have you guys. Shout out to Bumblefoot for that amazing intro music. I always appreciate it. You guys can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. You can find me at thecryptidhuntress.com, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Cryptid Huntress. I have live shows there every week, every Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, and Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. I've got some pretty kick-ass live shows over there with the best guests. You guys, well, I have the best guests over here too. We have the best guests all around over at the Cryptid Huntress. Also, visit my shop. That's War Woman Goods on Etsy. And if you'd like to support the work I'm doing and follow along with my remote viewing data from my show on Thursday, you guys can join my Patreon. That's the Cryptid Huntress. All right. Thank you so much. We have a fantastic guest here with us tonight at Spaced Out Radio. I have Robby Raines in the studio tonight. Don't forget that right after this show, Marquise has a fantastic show set up for after hours. And I think he has a special guest there. So be sure to check that out as soon as the show ends tonight. All right, let's get to our guest, because this guy is a good friend of mine. And we've got a lot to talk about tonight. Robby Raines is a police officer who had his first Bigfoot experience as a child. He's an active field researcher, investigator, and a tracker. Robby hosts the podcast What's Really Out There and is a co-host of DA Ex Machina podcast. And Robby has spent some time in the woods with me doing some Bigfoot research and scouting. And so please help me welcome to Spaced Out Radio tonight, my friend, Robby Raines. Hey, Robby.
Jess. How you?
Hey, I'm good, man. Long time no see. It's been a minute.
I know. Yeah, it's been a while since we've been on the internet together. On the internet.
On the interweb. That's right.
Yeah, the interweb.
That's right. Well, it doesn't mean we don't talk. We still message back and forth pretty often. So
yep.
I keep up with you, okay, and you keep up with me. So
Yeah,
we've got your co-host. Yeah.
Yep. The
Yes,
boss man's in the crowd.
We've got your boss man in the crowd tonight in the live chat. Shout out to D.A. Roberts. He is here.
He told me hello, and I said, "Hey, boss, I hadn't seen you in like 5 minutes because we were just on and going over some things before I got on with
okay. Yeah, you guys, you're kicking ass and taking names over there at DA Ex Machina podcast.
Yeah,
and having some fantastic shows. Y'all are cranking them out too. Got a super big audience, and I'm super proud of y'all. It's always a good time over there.
We had over 220 for most of the show last night. I think I told DA that I saw up above 236 at one point, and I mean it's amazing how much we've grown in the past, just 4 or 5 months.
It's fantastic,
unbelievable.
I know y'all be stealing my viewers sometimes. I know. I see y'all. Just kidding. I steal y'all's viewers too. It's okay. We go back and forth.
They go back and forth.
Yeah, Necromechanical's in the house. Thank you for being here tonight, bud.
Awesome artwork.
Awesome artwork. Oh my God. Did you see that me riding a cloaked Bigfoot one that I just put up? Oh my God. Thank you.
Yeah. That's got me the last time, put me on a spider.
Spider-Man? No, you were riding a spider.
I was riding a spider. We were playing like polo or something like that, and he put me on a spider. I told Mikey Bubs, I said, leave him and put me on the spider. The one thing that I'm scared of in this world or hate more than anything, he puts me on the spider.
Oh my gosh. Shout out to Mikey and Bub of the Strange Road too. Those guys are awesome. Necro makes really amazing artwork. You guys go follow him on I'm assuming it's a him. I'm assuming Necromechanical is a man. I've never met Necro before, but yes, go check him out on social media, y'all. I also got to be a Bigfoot one time. I was a Bigfoot. It looked like I had Mikey and Bub's heads were my boobs or something, though. It was weird. It was fun. That was one of my favorites. Yeah, that was fun. Okay, so but anyways, it's a great time. Always. You never know what you're gonna get. after we finish these shows. Some artwork will pop up occasionally, and it's amazing. So,
Yep.
yeah, I forgot you'd been in one too.
Yeah, at
Oh my
least one,
gosh.
maybe. No, I think I've been in two because Mikey and Bubs have been on twice. So, and we're working on part 3. So they're probably going to be
Yeah.
on again. It's always wild when they're on the show. They're all awesome. I love them too to death.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, well, actually, last night I had a friend to your podcast. I had Fred in Alaska scheduled to be on the show, and
Yep.
uh, the internet didn't work out very well. So, so my
Yeah.
whole crew, all of my chat,
Fred's
everybody.
not exactly in what you call a population center or even close to one.
Exactly, exactly. I want to thank all of my audience last night that stuck through that with me for an hour of me talking about whatever. It was so fun. I had the time of my life last night doing that. No shade to not having a guest. That was fun. I would have much preferred Fred been here last night, but I got to talk about just about anything last night, and it was a lot of fun. So shout out to everybody that was in there with me. Yeah.
DA said Fred's in Alaska. His internet comes in by dog sled.
It does. It comes in by bobsled. Absolutely. That's really funny. I'm sorry. I'm a little behind on my comments as usual. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Robby, you know, I don't think that you and I have talked publicly on Spaced Out Radio. We talked about it on my channel, but you and I hung out a couple of months ago, and and I took you Bigfooting. Okay, you met up with me in the North Georgia mountains, and we have some fun stories to tell. We haven't told them on Spaced Out Radio.
No,
and I figured maybe we could talk about that.
And I've talked about it on DAX Machina, but we've never talked about it on this one.
That's right. That's right. You remember on my show, I tried to start that show, and I got my internet shut down, and so it was like 15 minutes of just blank airtime going in.
That.
So yeah, we had that was a weird broadcast. It was, but hey, we're up and running right now so far, so might as well pump this story out while we can. So yeah, I was talking. I was presenting actually the Georgia Bigfoot conference, and I believe that was April, the first weekend in April Fool's Day, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
and yeah, the joke was on me. No joke was on the audience. They got to hear me too. But yeah, we went up there, and the night before there was a meet and greet for the speakers, and Robby, you met me up there, and we went scouting up in the mountains. And boy, tell the audience if it disappointed you at all.
No,
because
it definitely did not.
Yeah.
You know, we did a daytime scout. We went and ate lunch, and then went up and did a daytime scout, and then we had to get back for the meet and greet, and I guess it didn't go quite as long as it was supposed to, and
well, they ran out of food, kind of. Remember that?
Yeah, because they had to order.
They didn't have no food,
and so
right.
And if I'm not mistaken, it was supposed to rain, and it didn't, or it didn't rain like it was supposed to. It wasn't bad, and
that's right.
Jessica looked at me and said, "Well, you want to go back up and hit the woods again?" I'm like, "Yeah, what I'm here for." So we went back,
of course,
and changed into our more appropriate woods clothes instead of the fancy go to meeting duds, as they would say in the Beverly Hillbillies, and went back up into the mountains.
We went from shiny shoes to boots.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Of course, I had boots on the whole time anyway.
Yeah. Well,
anyway.
Yeah. Right.
So,
well, I think people, if I ever wore like a fancy dress, it would be camo. Right.
There's nothing wrong with a camo dress.
Right. I would wear a camo ball gown if I had to. So, just kidding. I wouldn't do that. But
what's up,
but yeah, we okay, yeah. I'm sorry, I'm still behind on all these things. My listen, this computer needs an update, and it's scheduled for an update tomorrow. I tried to update right before the show tonight, so if it's a little glitchy, you guys, I'm gonna have it updated tomorrow. So we'll be back in business without glitches, hopefully next week. By the way, Robby, I had to go buy a new computer because my computer got zapped in the airport.
I heard about that. That was the show that Mikey and Bubs was on, right? Because that's when Mikey went to the bathroom and Bubs had to take over for a little bit because your computer blanked out or whatever.
There's always something,
Captain
right?
Bubs.
It's always something.
Yeah, I was
Well, you
watching
know
that
what?
show.
To our defense, it was Memorial Day, okay, and everybody was having fun, and Mikey was probably having a couple of drinks, and it was, he needed to go pee, so that's what happened. That's we just have a lot of good times over here. So, but yeah, so speaking of drinking, I don't think we didn't drink that night, actually. So I don't like drinking when I'm out doing Bigfoot research, because you just don't know what's going to happen to you. It's not a good idea to drink alcohol and be impaired when you're out in the field doing research.
No, it wouldn't have been a good time to have been drunk that night, or even
Lord no. Yeah. So what had happened was, we have some spots. I have some spots that have a lot of well-known, Bigfoot activity for things that I've experienced, and so I figured, hey, let's go check some of these areas out, because we weren't too far from those, and yeah, we went and scouted it out that afternoon in the daytime, so we could so you could get a feel of where we were going to be going if we did make it back that night, and yeah, we went up to a field, and we got out and decided we were going to walk up to the top of this ridge, the ridge line, basically. And Robby, what were you expecting to have any kind of Bigfoot activity that night?
I don't know if I was not expecting it, but I wouldn't say that I was expecting it. I was just kind of like somewhere in the middle of, like, obviously we went up there during the day, getting the lay of the land. I knew that was obviously a place where it could happen, but you never know. So you don't want to go up there expecting something and then something not happen. But you don't want to go up there and be just totally oblivious and then something happen and you not be ready for it. So I always try to find that even keel of, well, okay, something could happen, but I'm not going to get let down if it doesn't happen, because obviously it doesn't always happen. So
right. Well, you're a cop too. You're a police officer, and you're always prepared for if anything crazy happens. So
I try to be.
I did feel safe with you out there. Yeah.
I try to be prepared.
That was good.
I was never a Boy Scout, but I still always try to be prepared.
Yeah, me too. Well, to be honest with you, I think we have more like UFO activity in that area than we do in like ET stuff that happens than we do Bigfoot season. We have a lot of Bigfoot activity up there,
but
there's a lot of other stuff that happens.
Because there was definitely some unidentified furry objects up there.
Furry? Oh my gosh! Did you just come up with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. That was funny.
Trying to keep your UFO streak alive.
UFO. Okay, so you have experienced UFO then, and so I could probably say that to Fred too next time he comes on my show, because he said he's never really seen UFOs and stuff. He's not into that. I'm going to bust that joke out.
If you want to classify them, then yes, I have now officially had a UFO encounter.
Yes. Okay. So it was more than one too. So long story short, we won't get into the story, but just to let the audience know, like, we were actually at some point surrounded by Sasquatch out there in that field.
Said DA's comment. I said, not funny. He said,
okay,
worst case scenario that you could have outrun me, which is true, but it's still not funny.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. Somebody said in my chat last night, you don't have to outrun the zombies. You got to outrun the slowest person that's running beside you, or just trip somebody. Just kidding. That's horrible, right? It's terrible. I wouldn't do that. I would try not to ever have to do that. Okay. I would try. But yeah, so we're out there in this field. We are just talking it up. And I just felt like we were getting louder and louder and louder, and like to where we were screaming over each other
the insects were elevating, they were getting louder. So that's why we were having to talk louder, because it was just like somebody was turning the volume up on the bug noise.
Yeah, which is very unusual. Thank you, Susie B. Shout out to Susie. Thank you. Yeah, that is so unusual. I've never heard crickets chirping like that, especially not out there, not that loud. It was outrageously loud, and it kept getting louder and louder and louder. And you and I were just talking about just whatever, right?
Yeah.
And I just felt like we were yelling over each other at some point. And then, I mean, it had to have been 45 minutes, 30 minutes we were out there. And then
I lost track of how we were out there long enough to have a a really long conversation about all kinds of stuff. I mean, from Bigfoot, UFOs, to Dogman,
Life.
to
Right.
life, to what we had to eat just before. I mean, it was not like it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't a quick experience. We we were just out there enjoying being out in the woods. Nobody else around. No traffic. No nothing to worry about. Just that to me that's what I would call a vacation. Just being out away from everybody else, being out in the woods, in the wilderness. That was awesome to me. So we were out enjoying
Yeah.
the moment.
Right. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Until those crickets just completely quit chirping out of the blue. What does that usually mean, Robby?
Usually when things go silent like that, that means there's a big predator in the area.
Mm-hmm.
And
okay,
it's something that they see as a threat. So obviously they didn't see you and I as a threat, because it was like us two and all the bugs were having a contest to see who could outtalk the other. If me and you could outtalk the bugs, and the bugs could outtalk us,
that's
and all of a
right.
sudden the bugs just shut up because
They did. Yeah, because there was something creeping up around us, and I felt it. You felt it. We knew it was out there, and we were sensing it on either side of us. And then when we started sensing that whatever was coming out of the tree line, I was feeling something down by my truck, which was what, about 75 yards down the hill, I guess, or something like that.
yeah, something about like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And so we sat around for a little bit, and we waited, right? I was waiting for those crickets to start chirping again,
Yeah,
but they
after they
didn't.
stopped, I would say we stayed up on the hill probably another 5 to 10 minutes, maybe 15, before you the one that first felt like there was something down around your car, and you said, I think we need to head back down towards the car, because we didn't want to get. We were already kind of surrounded. Never felt any
Yeah.
kind of danger from it, but we were surrounded.
Yes.
But we didn't want anything to get in between us and the car, so we made the tactical decision to to get back to the car. That way, at least if something
Yes.
happened, we were right there at the car.
The smart choice. Yes, Justin, I'm going to get back to your question in just a minute. Okay. I'm going to, because I was going to ask Robby something similar to that tonight. Okay. So I'm going to I started that. Okay. We'll go back to it. Yeah. So we made the executive decision to head back down to the truck, and we got back down to that truck and turned around and looked at to where we had been standing, and there were some shadowy figures up there. Right, Robby?
Yep. I looked back, and I think you were looking over my shoulder, and you had said something, and I said, shh. And you said, what? You mouthed what? And I said, I think I just pointed. I can't remember if I just pointed or I said, look, or anyway, you looked up there, and I don't know how much of it you saw, but I saw it walk all the way across from where we were looking, from our left to our right. Saw it walk all the way across that whole part of that ridge line that was lit up by, the starlight or moonlight, whatever it was, it was backlit basically. And I saw it walk all the way across. I don't know how much of it you saw, but I saw it walk all the way, probably a good 15 yards worth of movement.
Yeah. Glitches get stitches. Stargazer, that is amazing. I'm going to start using that every time I glitch out. Okay. Because I glitch out all the time. Yeah. Yeah, I saw it too, Robby. I absolutely saw it. I saw a couple of figures standing where we had been, actually in the tree line. And those are the two that we were in the trees earlier, I do believe. Yeah. Yeah, but they didn't make any noise at all. There's no noise. We could just see them. We could feel them. There was no whooping. There were no orbs. There were no lights. There was nothing. Just those shadowy figures up there. So yeah. It just seems to happen, but we were absolutely surrounded by whatever that was out there that night, and it was a good time. It was a really good time. So yeah, are you gonna come back to Georgia sometime, Robby, and come and go Bigfooting with me? Okay, I've got some new spots now.
I mean, we've tried to work it out a couple times. my schedule and your schedule just didn't work out, and then you were gone on your little whirlwind tour thing. So
Yes,
yeah,
I know
but,
the adventure continues. I know
but
it's
we are planning a little adventure when we go down to Texas to go to a place and look. Maybe hopefully we might see something down there. I don't know if you want to tell them what we
tell
talked about.
the audience about that. Tell the audience a little bit about our adventure we got planned.
Jessica and I are both going to be at the Dogman conference September 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, for Paranormal Roundtable in Fort Worth, Texas. Yes.
Yep, I'll get you tickets. They're still on
Labor
sale.
Day.
Eventbrite, I think, is the one that's putting it on, right?
That's right.
And so anyway, we're going to be down there. Well, I think the first night's going to be the meet and greet. So we've all kind of been talking here and there about it. DA and I and Doc and Jessica. That's about 30 minutes from where the Lake Worth monster is supposed to have been sighted. So we're planning
I'm excited.
A little field trip to go see if maybe we can have a Lake Worth monster encounter. And that's been described as everything from a goat man to a lake monster to a Bigfoot. So I mean, who knows what we'll get into when we go down there.
Yeah.
That's
it's going to be amazing. It's going to be super awesome. See, I see how far behind I am on these comments too. That's how far behind I am. Sorry.
These work conditions. See what my boss is saying?
I'm trying. I try. I have furries in the woods. Oh my God. I can't even put these up, y'all. My chat. Y'all are off the chain. These work conditions. Well, speaking of work conditions, okay, this is not work for me, but we're talking about monsters of the Appalachians tonight, and that's what I titled the show because I know you and I have experience with them, and I have been asked, and I was telling the audience last night about going to East. I get to go to East Tennessee in a couple of weeks, Robby. I've been asked to go out and I'm joining up with a team. I think these guys might be like Army Rangers or something. I'm just saying. The guys from Cryptid Warfare and their friends are heading out there with me. I'm going to be accompanying them. And we're going up to East Tennessee. And we're going to be checking out Farrah's property. A friend who has a podcast called Conversation Cabin. 500 acres, Robby. 500 acres with a big, gigantic cave on it. So we're going. They have everything from Dogman sightings to Bigfoot.
Be careful around caves, because you know mine and DA and Doc and all them's theory about caves.
No, tell me what's the theory?
Okay, if you overlay a map of the missing 411s, Bigfoot sightings, and cave locations in the U.S., you're going to be surprised at how well those three line up. So.
Oh, I know that. Absolutely. I actually presented that at the Journey to Truth conference.
Well, I know you're familiar with echolocation. I mean, bats use it. Dolphins use it.
Yes.
Killer whales use it. It's used. It's even people use it.
Even some blind people use it.
Yeah. This is where we started coming up with this theory. So all these quote unquote wood knocks that people hear, you've been out in the woods a lot, pretty much your whole life. You ever try to pick up a piece of wood that's stout enough to actually make a wood knock like that doesn't just fall apart in your hand? Tongue clicks.
I mean, I think it's their mouth. Yeah, I think it's a mouth click.
Yeah, it's a tongue click. And if you're underground and you're that big and you can do a tongue click like that, echolocation.
Well, yeah. Well, also with the whoops. Okay, so a lot of times when I'm we're in base camp and we're sleeping at night, or when I don't sleep a whole lot. Sometimes I either sleep really hard or I don't sleep at all, depending upon the activity that's going on. But at night, if you wake up in the middle of the night, or if you stay up all night, you can hear them triangulating around base camp with their whoops. So the Bigfoots will whoop, and you can hear one coming from one direction, one from another, and that's how they're triangulating, and they're locating where each other are, I believe. because you can clearly hear it at night.
And I think the clicks, tongue clicks, or the wood knocks. I think they use it as echolocation. Because if they do,
to scare people.
Well, I mean that's maybe. I mean, but I think it's a form of echolocation. Because think about it, the population it has to be a big population for all the sightings we get. But should there not be more sightings? And if there's not more sightings, why are there not more sightings? Well, what if they stay in the caves most of the time? What if they're basically subterranean? And the ones that you see is just when you see them when they're out. But they live in these cave systems.
Could be.
It's not,
Robby.
I mean,
could be. Well, that would be the 3D version. But, I get all woo up here at Spaced Out Radio. And I have to kind of throw a monkey. I have to throw a wrench in the engine. That's what I was going to say.
Monkey wrench.
I was going to say a monkey wrench. I was going to say a monkey wrench. I have to throw a wrench in the engine sometimes, and I have to put it out there. Well, what if they're coming in out of portals and stuff? Because that could be an option too.
Here's my question to that.
Okay, what's your question?
If these things, which they're apex predators, that's the one thing that both camps can agree on, right? Is these things are apex predators.
Yes.
And they have preyed on humans. We know that. Go back and look at all the First Nation tribes, things like that happen. If they could do this, and I'm not saying they can't. This is me just my defense. Okay. This, if they could do that, we wouldn't be top of the food chain. We would be. They may still can do it. I'm just saying, if they could do that, there would be more people that we're missing, in my opinion. And I think
there's a lot of people missing, Robby. There's a lot.
I agree with that. But people. I'm just saying, I don't think it would be
I'm just saying.
It wouldn't be argued whether they were real or not. Let's put it that way. If they could do that, because they would be snatching people just out of their living rooms or out of their bedrooms, and especially if you look at a Gugway, if a Gugway could teleport and walk through in and out of portals.
I think some of them might can. Yeah, I don't know.
But my opinion on that. My opinion is backtracking and adaptive camouflage. I showed you that video of all those doll sheep
absolutely
it's in nature, and that's the police officer in me. That's the Occam's razor. What is the most logical answer to this? And the most logical answer to me is we don't have to look far other than what's already studied in nature to explain this. Polar bears have adaptive camouflage. Sharks have adaptive camouflage. Squid, octopus, birds, insects. There's thousands of already known species who use adaptive camouflage. There's already animals that have clear hair follicles. Polar bears that reflect light.
Right.
There's already animals that use echolocation. There's, that's why I go where the evidence points me. Now, the evidence that I look at, if you look at the same evidence, it may take you over here, but it may take me over here. That's not saying I'm right and you're wrong, or you're
absolutely
right and I'm wrong. It's just that's how I interpret.
And we should look at all of it too. Like we should totally explore all of it and be open to it.
I don't say that that they can't portal or that they don't. I just say that personally, I believe that there's explanations for it. Like when there's a track line, and all of a sudden the track just stop. I believe that they backtrack. Rabbits can backtrack. Grizzly bears will backtrack. I mean, if nothing else in nature did things that we can't explain, then okay. But when you can see that other animals are doing these type of things, like I said, they're again analytical, critical thinking type. That's what I've done for 26
Are you saying I don't
years.
think? Is that what you're saying? Is that what you're saying, Robby?
I said that's the way this works. Because that's the way it's worked for 26 and a half years.
Oh my gosh.
you have to look.
Yes. Oh,
In my job, I have to look. I have to go where the evidence takes me, and that's just.
yes.
And
Okay. Well,
there again, I'm not one of
I
them. You
mean,
know me, Jessica. I don't. If somebody don't buy into what I say, that's fine. You don't have to. But if you're going to ask what my opinion is, I'm going to tell you. You don't have to like it. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to go along with it. You know,
absolutely. Well, I'm sure people don't like my opinion either, and it's okay. And it's not just my opinion; it's my experience. So I think it's fun having these discussions. Absolutely, 100%. You and I have some pretty good talks about it.
I told you. I said if I have an experience like you have, and I can't explain it, it may change the way I think. I haven't had anything that. How many times have I said this statement to you? I haven't had anything or any kind of experience that shows me anything other than a flesh and blood animal.
But okay, so that's why why I took you where I took you, because I figured you'd have a little bit more. So I'm not done with you yet. We're gonna get you out there. You're gonna have some weird experiences. I swear. One day it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen next time you come
and
out
if
there.
It does, then I'll be the first to say, "Yo, well, I was wrong." But
okay.
Every experience that I've had is led me in even further down the flesh and blood camp. But there again, I'm the kind of guy that's like, there's no experts in this field. Excuse me. There's no experts in this field.
That's right.
There are only theories and conjecture and speculation, and this is what I think, and this is what you think, and this is what you think, this is what you think. That's all it is. So your experiences are unique to you. So I couldn't tell you that you're wrong any more than you could tell me that I'm wrong, because my experiences are interpreted by me the way I interpret them.
Stop yelling at me, Robby. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I mean, Corporal Raines. Oh my gosh, yes, Penny. I did congratulate Robby on his promotion, and that was one of the first things I said to him tonight before we even went live on air. I'm super proud of him. I told him congratulations on the day he got it. Okay,
Jessica was one of the Jessica, DA, Doc, all of them. They were some of the first ones to know that I got it.
That's right. Absolutely, we're super proud of you. Good job, Robby. Corporal Raines, I appreciate you. And thank you for your service too. We do appreciate that to our communities. And Brown Dwarf says it's good to get a law enforcement point of view. It totally is. Absolutely. By the book, right? By the book kind of stuff.
Well, I mean,
100%.
But how I'm geared to look at it. I mean, but that's based on my life experiences and the way I process things. Mm-hmm. Whereas you've done it a different way, and you look at things a different way.
Yes.
Like I said, that's just, but that's
I see things from the upside down. I do, because I've seen it that way.
I see things not necessarily in black and white, but I see things more in a tighter box. Let's put it that way, because to me, I feel like there has to be a logical explanation for everything.
Yes. Yeah, and there could be.
I look for what leads me to that. Like I said, tracks disappearing. Okay, they backtracked. That to me, that's the logical explanation. They either backtracked or they sidetracked.
Okay.
That's what I look at. You've studied tracking. You've done tracking.
Yes.
That's.
Well, I know they can backtrack, but I don't believe that they do all the time. I think that could be the case occasionally, but
think of this.
That's
if somebody that doesn't know anything about tracking,
mm-hmm.
It is very hard for somebody who knows nothing about tracking to look at a track and tell that something backtracked. That is
right
better than most people, because you know what to look for. Mm-hmm. Your primary point of impact is going to be different. Your tear out's going to be different. Your transference is going to be different. All that stuff's going to be different if you're backtracking versus, because when you're walking forward, your primary point of impact is going to be your heel, unless you're walking awful funny. But
you got to add injuries into that too, Robby. Yeah. Okay, something's got to limp.
But if you're walking backwards, your primary point of impact is going to be the front of your foot.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're walking.
Well, it's good to know all that stuff. And I say, anybody who's out there doing research, if you're out there doing some real boots on the ground research, it's important to learn tracking. By the way, if anyone's interested in learning tracking, human tracking and animal tracking, my team has made a fantastic video on Sasquatch tracking. It's got a whole bunch of other stuff in there. You guys can find those on my website, thecryptidhuntress.com. I have a couple of those videos. I had some of my personal stash, and I put those up on my website, and they're super cheap on there, but they're a bunch of information. I say they're cheap because I'm not trying to make any money off of these. I just need to pay for the postage, okay, to get those out. I have a few. You guys can go find them in my shop, okay, on my website. And I've already had several people purchase them, and they love them so far. The feedback's been amazing. But okay, so Stargazer, you live in Georgia too. What's up? I'm in Georgia, of course. Robby, you were here in Georgia. Stargazer says the first recorded case of Bigfoot was here in Georgia. It was sighted near Milledgeville, Georgia, back in the 1830s, if my timeline is correct. Okay, so I brought up Milledgeville last night. On the show when I was over here talking to myself without my guest last night. It was really fun. But I brought up Milledgeville because Kat, who was in the chat, had asked me about the shapeshifter from Middle Georgia. Okay, apparently that's a thing. There's a shapeshifter in Middle Georgia, and my team does research throughout Middle Georgia. But I mentioned Milledgeville because Milledgeville used to be the capital of Georgia a long time ago, probably during the 1830s, actually. And there's a huge, I want to say it's like called the Women's Hospital now, I think, but it was like, I think they called it a lunatic asylum. Okay. Back in the day. I think that may not be the politically correct term for it, but I think that's what it was.
Well, that's what they called them back then. It's insane asylums or lunatic asylums. That's what they call them. That's nothing.
Lunatic, right? Like,
yeah. Like on lunar.
Like the full moon. Yeah.
That's where the term came from, lunatic, because people were more susceptible to being crazy during the full moon, and that's where the term lunatic came from.
And working in law enforcement, you know better than just about anybody. And that full moon comes out.
Guess what this weekend was?
It's the full moon, and you worked all weekend.
And I earned my stripes this weekend.
What was it like?
I got my teeth kicked down my throat this weekend.
Oh,
when I clocked out today, I had 113 hours in 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah, that's a lot of hours there. Plus you're doing all these podcasts, and yeah, you're busy. You're a busy man, and making your woodworks as well too. So
but I have officially hung up the whistle. I ain't coaching no more. This was
no more soccer coaching, huh?
Yep, no more coaching.
Okay.
It was just too much, and soccer just fell that way down on the list of priorities that I wasn't enjoying it like I used to. And this has become all this has become more of my passion.
This is your hobby now.
Yeah.
This is your hobby now.
So right. I have officially hung the whistle up. Coach Raines is no more.
Well, I'm sorry, but also congratulations, because I know that was a lot of work for you. So So okay, so Stargazer was just mentioning about the Milledgeville. And there's so much high strangeness in Georgia. I don't know what it is about Georgia, especially during the full moon, by the way. But yeah, throughout Middle Georgia, we research an area called the Troop Herd Corridor. And that's where they have more like alien abductions than anywhere else. I don't know if it's in the U.S. or just the South. I know definitely in the South. A lot of reported alien abductions happen down there. Dogman, Bigfoot. And there is a military base down there. Fort Benning, I believe, is down that way. So not too far. And like, yeah. And I think it's West Point Lake is in that area, all that kind of stuff. So lots of UFO sightings down there. So yeah. Interesting place. But yeah, I don't know. So we got surrounded by Bigfoots, Robby. We got surrounded by, and no UFOs. I'm betting on the next time I take you out there, we're gonna have some UFO sightings, and I think we need to try some other spots as well, not just that area. So we're gonna take you to the portal one day.
They were unidentified. I'm betting they were furry, and they were objects. So
furry.
We had UFO, or if you want to say fuzzy.
Well, you mentioned a goat man. Okay, so a possible goat man in Fort Worth, Texas. Well, there are goat man sightings all throughout the Appalachian Mountains. Even somebody had sent me a picture of a game camera. I believe it was down in Florida, and I know that's not the Appalachian Mountains, okay, but down in the Panhandle, someone sent me a game cam picture of a goat man. It was literally a goat man. And it was in an area that I had looked into where I was actually picking up on a goat man being in that area. So what's up with all the goat men, Robby? I mean, they're all over Texas. There's goat man sightings all over Texas. Actually, my friend Jason McLean wrote a book, and every chapter is a different cryptid out of Texas, the Fort Worth area, actually, I believe, or Dallas. I can't remember. Goat men everywhere.
Yeah, and that's not something that I, other than the obvious satyrs from Greek mythology, I never really knew much about anything like that until I started getting in. And when I first got into it, cryptids to me was just Bigfoot. You know, I really even werewolves were always was my favorite thing as far as horror movie monsters. But I had no clue that Dogman existed. It was Bigfoot, and that was it. And then when I took the deep dive into the deep end of cryptids and started learning about all this stuff, it's kind of the stuff that's out there. The show that I told you about when you showed me the show title, they've done one on Sheep Squatch, one called the
Sheep Squatch.
Yep.
Okay, I've seen a picture of what looks like a sheep squatch.
Yep. There's another creature. It kind of sort of like a pterodactyl. They call it the galley snaster or the snallygaster one. I can't remember because I said both
snallygaster.
Yeah, snallygaster. Okay. They've done something on the Wampus cat, which is a true Cherokee legend. Spearfinger, which is another Cherokee legend. There's so many things out there.
Spearfinger. Mm-hmm. I love that legend. I've encountered her, I think, maybe.
Ravenmocker. I mean, they did. It's like they got into a book about Cherokee legends and said, yeah, that one's good. That's good. The Silver Giant. Oh yeah. Let's bring that one out there. It is. You got to watch it. Yeah, you need to watch a couple episodes and you'll understand.
So Robby's referring to a show called I'm just going to say Monster Mountains. I don't know if I'm supposed to say the show. I mean, it doesn't matter if I say it or not. Yeah. Mountain Monsters. And I was trying to switch it up so I didn't get like a copyright or something, but it doesn't matter. It's Mountain Monsters, right? Okay, so yeah, I've never watched that show. It's just every time I've turned it on to try to watch it, it looks like the guys are pointing guns at each other. So
there's probably been a time or two when that's happened.
Yeah, they're not practicing good gun safety on that show. I'm just saying.
I mean, it's strictly a sensationalized show for entertainment purposes. They're not seriously out there.
Yeah,
doing what we're doing.
Are most of these shows for entertainment purposes only? You think, or is anybody doing real research on any of these shows? What do you think?
On any of the shows, like the weekly episodic ones, I doubt it. I doubt it very seriously.
Okay.
Some of the documentaries that that you've seen, Dr. Meldrum and Dr. Bendernagel and people like that Grover Krantz, those are legitimate, but like these weekly episodic things that that's telling a story that they're chasing down clues to try to find. Nah, there's no way. Look at it this way. If all of us that are seriously doing this have as much trouble as we have trying to get out there and, find actual proof, there's no way this bunch of, and I'm going to preface what I'm about to say by, you shouldn't make fun of people, but I'm a redneck, so I can say the word redneck because that's what I am. But this bunch of rednecks out in the woods, because they're not far from me. They go in the woods and find this.
I'm not laughing. I'm laughing with you.
I mean, but they're in an old shack in the middle of the woods, and all of a sudden, a hairy arm will reach through the window at them, or they'll hear a big scream or stuff like that. You been out in the woods, Jessica? how many times, if you go out in the woods 100 times, of that 100 times, how many times are you likely going to have an encounter?
Not 100 times.
If you're lucky, you're going to have maybe what,
Maybe
4 or
like
5?
5. I was going to say 5. Yeah. If out of 100, I mean,
every single time they go out, they have something happen.
That's I don't know. That's for TV. That's not one show. Absolutely.
It's strictly entertainment. That's all it is.
It is. It is. I was going to say something. I just lost my train of thought, but DA has a great point. There's a Bigfoot attack back in 1829 in the Okefenokee swamp. I did a show on that a while back, and there were some men that went in, they found these gigantic footprints, human footprints in the middle of the Okefenokee swamp. Some settlers who had won a land lottery, had gotten some land out there, decided to go look into the swamp. They went back to town because they got scared after seeing those prints. Went and told some hunters from Florida, those rowdy Floridians down there. They found out about it, rode up, and they went looking for whatever left those gigantic prints.
Only one of those guys that got scared out, only one of them decided to go back in with them.
Yeah. Well, the thing ended up killing 5 of those men. And everybody says it was a Bigfoot. I disagree. I believe it was a giant. And I've stated that publicly. I believe it was a giant. And then I had a woman, Barb, actually, who watches my show. She contacted me. They call her, what does she call herself? The Swamp Hag or something. She's actually really awesome. I met Barb down at the Molina Bigfoot Festival in South Georgia. And she said that she's lived at the Okefenokee her entire life, and it's always been known that a race of giants lived in the swamp, she said. So, but even though some people say that was a Bigfoot, I disagree. I think it was a giant. So,
well, the accounts of the people,
it had a Bigfoot though. It had a Bigfoot.
2 people were all that came back out of that, I think. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, 2 people survived. Yeah. 2 men. According to the papers and stuff.
The 2 original came back out, and they were telling a story, and then the hunters came back, and only one of those guys that came out of from the 2 originally decided to go back with them and show them where it was at, and then only 2 people came back out of that group that went in there.
That's right. Yeah. And the thing tore those men from limb to limb as well. That's what how the story goes. So yeah, there's a lot of really creepy stuff going on around here. I can't even get into my conversation I had tonight with somebody, but there's a whole lot of weird stuff going on in the Appalachian Mountains too. And I know that was kind of the focus of what we were going to talk about tonight. A lot of that may or may not have to do with like underground bases too, Robby. And these deep underground military bases. Dumps. And being the dumbs. That's right. I think Necro had said something about that in the chat earlier about the dumbs. What you guys had a really fantastic show last night on Dogman and possibly working with our government. Okay, our government utilizing Dogman, Bigfoot. What do you think about this? I know Justin. I told Justin I'd come back to his question. It says, "What do you think about the U.S. government's approach on recruiting Bigfoot to serve their needs? And how do they do it? What do you think, Robby?"
Well, here's
your nickname. That's your new nickname.
Yeah, I've been called that plenty of times before.
I'm kidding.
Doc found an article that it said that the government had initiated a breeding program. I can't remember what year it was, but they had released 22,000 dogmen all over the country, and most of them around the swamps of Louisiana. And
wow,
it was part of the lifespan was like 68 years or something like that, and then it was a study to see the breeding populations and see how but it was basically the start of a super soldier program. And we dove down that rabbit hole last night because life imitates art, imitates life. You see all these movies got ideas from somewhere.
So, absolutely. Actually, a lot of the movies that are made, I just had a conversation about this with a very interesting person who I will be doing a show with tomorrow night. And I can't give details out right now. It's not going to be my show. But who is involved in some very interesting programs. And there are a lot of, he said that a lot of these movies that are made, even Predator, Alien, all those movies, Rambo, even, those movies are based off of real life stuff that's already happened. And they give these unclassified documents to Hollywood producers, and they're blacked out. Like the classified part's blacked out, and then producers are able to, and the writers are able to go in there and fill in the blanks. And that's how they make these movies. Yeah.
Oh, it wouldn't surprise me at all. We've had that conversation probably 100 times on DAX Machina about but I mean, look at comic books. I mean, if you go back to Captain America and look at what the story of Captain America and how that happened, that was basically U.S. and Germany in a race to create the super soldier. You know, Red Skull was Germany's version, and the serum wasn't ready, and that's why he ended up the way he was. And the guy defected to the United States, the German scientist. You know, that's never happened before. We've never had German scientists defect to our country and increase our Werner von Braun. Never happened before, has it? But there you go, based on real life activities. He defects to the U.S. The good U.S. government allows him to perfect the serum, and then there you got,
I mean,
Captain America.
So, they tell us everything. It's called soft disclosure, right? Soft disclosure, I think, is what I was told.
That's why we believe, like the thing with the that happened the night of the Super Bowl. All those what I know the term's not UFO anymore. What's the new term that you're supposed to be calling them?
No, it's UFO. We say UFO at Spaced Out Radio.
Okay, well,
it'll never be UAP UFO up in here.
Yeah, that thing, whatever.
A UAP is actually, I think they consider UAP man-made, and UFO is alien craft.
Well, anyway, when all them things are flying over the country,
I'm just a Bigfoot girl,
and getting shot down, all this kind of stuff, you would think that would be stop the Super Bowl. Everybody glued to the TV. I mean, think about it when we were growing up, Jessica, because we're not too far apart in age. If the president had something to say, you couldn't watch any of the 3 channels that you had, because that's about all the channels we had back then.
That's right.
Because every channel was going to be stopped.
11, 17, 36. 46.
Ours was 4, 7, and 13. And then when channel 21 come around, we were highfalutin because we had 4 channels.
Right.
But whenever something like that happened, everything stopped. You could whatever you were watching it, that stupid little annoying buzzer, and then there come the president talking. Everybody's mad because he was interrupting whatever was going on. This happens the night of the Super Bowl, and they bury it on YouTube. And the Secretary of Defense is in there talking. The White House press secretary and the commanding general of NORAD are speaking. Don't you think that warrants a little bit more than being buried on YouTube?
Yeah.
But
I think so. I mean, but everything is being hidden from us. Okay.
But
and it's on purpose.
They did go on and they did say something. So
right.
Well, we went on. We went live. We were on YouTube. Okay. So, like I said, soft disclosure. That's why you get the little things like Marty was talking about, and the about the skunk ape. The things that were in the brochures about the skunk ape. You can't shoot a skunk ape, and the thing in Oklahoma with there's I think it's a 3,000, or it may even be 30 million. I can't remember. There's something with a 3 bounty on a live Bigfoot, and you get, there's been speculation that Bigfoot is listed in the Army Corps of Engineers field manual as a species that a dangerous animal that you will encounter.
We talked about that last time you were here on my show. Yeah. Me and you and DA actually.
Yep. So
we talked about that.
And that's exactly what soft disclosure is. So when it all comes out, they're like, well, we told you. We've been telling you. You just ain't listened to us.
Exactly. They bet on that. They absolutely bet on that.
And
but they put everything right in our faces too, Robby. It's all right in our face.
Well, because most people don't care, I guess is the best. They don't care to look what's going on right in front of their face. And here you go. We're talking about movies again. Ignorance is bliss. The Matrix. I know my brain's telling me that all this stuff is real, or excuse me, I know that all these people are telling me that this stuff is not real, but my brain is telling me it's real. But I don't want to have to deal with the fact that it really is. So I'm just gonna shut out,
take the blue pill, go back to sleep.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna stay in the Matrix.
Absolutely. Well, listen, if anybody wants to take the red pill, they can go check out your podcast. You've got some fantastic podcasts, Robby. You've got What's Really Out There podcast. You've also got DAX Machina, right? Mm-hmm. Tell everybody where they can find you and your podcast.
We're pretty much everywhere. I'm kind of starting Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Spotify, but I'm kind of really trying to push the YouTube version of it. What's Really Out There on YouTube. We're creeping up like 292 subscribers on YouTube, so we're wanting to push to get that up to that 1,000 person mark.
Oh yeah.
So I've got about 6 episodes. After I get off here with you, I got about 6 episodes I've got to set up to download. I don't get to set them up to upload as often as I'd like, but my daughter and her boyfriend were the one, the story, Jessica, but they're the ones that do my audio and editing. And
you got a team actually.
Yeah. My daughter does all the cool little, what do you call them? Thumbnails. She does all that stuff. They do it for free. So it's not like I can get on them and say, hey, well, I need these things right now. I got to kind of just,
you're at their beck and call there. I know. Yeah. Or yes. Okay. So DAX Machina, tell everybody when you guys air and where to find that.
DAX Machina, we're on every Wednesday and Saturday night at the time zone we're in.
Eastern.
You and I, Jessica, it's 9. But
yes, Central is 8.
Central is 8 o'clock, and I don't know what the rest of them are, but
okay. Pacific will be 6.
I have enough trouble keeping up with 2 time zones. I got to keep up with
you're too busy working all the time, Robby. I got you. I got you.
But,
okay.
Wednesdays and Saturday nights, we dive into a lot of stuff. A lot of times people love to say we go off the rails because we go off the rails.
Well, we're off the trails tonight, and we went off the rails too a little bit. It's okay. I don't think we did actually. I thought we did pretty good tonight, Robby. We did really good. I think we knocked it out the park tonight. And so listen, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Come back and see me. Absolutely, you're welcome here anytime. You got an open invite, Robby. Okay.
Well, thank you.
Okay, awesome. Well, listen, have a great night. We're gonna catch up soon. I will see you later. You got tomorrow off, I assume, right? I hope so.
Tomorrow and Tuesday.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. Well, we're going to see you over at DAX Machina, and everybody check out his podcast, What's Really Out There. All right, Robby, we'll see you later. Bye.
All right.
Okay, everybody. That was awesome. Don't forget that right after this show, After Hours has an amazing program. They are going live right this minute. I will see you guys next week on Off the Trails right here on spacedoutradio. But for now, I'm the Cryptid Huntress. I'm Jessica Jones. Y'all see me on my channel, The Cryptid Huntress. This week, I've got a fantastic show on Wednesday. My friend Jock Doubleday's coming on. We're going to be talking about terraforming Terra and the Giants. And then I got a show on Thursday night. I'll see y'all back here next weekend. Y'all have a great week. Bye.